work right now. No. Actually, not. No. Hold on, I'll call right back.
What's going on, family? I just got out of church, feel me? And I'm not gonna lie, I contemplated on going today. Cause last week when I went with my mom and Basil, the message that, was being preached, it kinda didn't resonate with me. Basil was all in the church falling asleep, but I didn't use that as an excuse to discourage me, you feel me? Because and I'm building my own personal relationship with God, but I also like to, hear the message, because you never know, the things that you might need to hear. And today was a great message that it resonated with me, and it was just talking about in life, your fulfillment ultimately comes from the source. And no matter how much you accomplish in your life, you'll continue to accomplish these things and seek these things and seek for validation outside of yourself, and that's going to ultimately just leave you on a chase. It's going to leave you empty. It's so much easier said than done. It's easy to say put your faith in God. It's easy to say He's going to be the one to fulfill your needs, to fulfill your desires. But as you're going on in life, you'll realize that everything that you're accomplishing, you'll still feel like something is missing. And the example that they used was Tom Brady, and golfer dude. He was the top of his sport. He was referring to the interviews that they had, and Tom Brady, of course, y'all know, won multiple championships, and he's accomplished a lot in football. But in one of his interviews, he said still feel like it was something missing, even though he accomplished all these accolades. So I don't ever want to get caught up in that space where you just striving for things, but you're still not fulfilled on the inside. And I ain't gonna lie, I used to always think that I want to become a millionaire, I want to do this, I want to do that, thinking that that's going to bring my happiness. And to be honest, I feel like God has strategically allowed me not to accomplish these things yet, to understand what's most important, because the last thing I want to do is get to these milestones and get to these accomplishments and still not be happy, or feel like I wasted all this time trying to find happiness and I'm still not getting it. You always hear that happiness is found within, happiness is found inside of yourself, but you'll never actually understand that until you have to do it, until you have to actually live what it is that you're saying. At the end of the day, life is never all the way figured out. We don't always have life all the way figured out. To be honest, nobody does. Even all the wisdom and all the knowledge that you acquire, it's not likely that you're going to have everything figured out. It's too much information out here for you to think that you're going to have everything figured out. And I guess that's what's really slapping me in the face right now, because with all the books I've read, with all the prayer that I've done, it still feel like I still have so much to learn, and a lot of times it could make me feel like I'm behind. But that's the trick of the enemy, you feel me, to make me feel like I'm not where I need to be. I know I'm exactly where I need to be, because I didn't choose to be here, the position in life that I am right now. God has ultimately had a hand in it. I don't think that I would even be in Texas right now if it wasn't for the direction of God. I am very God oriented and I am very family knit, but it wasn't my choice to, be here with my brother, you feel me? That was ordained. It was designed to be that way. And a lot of times I be thinking from a mindset of my own personal desires and what I want to do. But at the end of the day, I'm not here to just fulfill what it is that I want to do. I'm walking in faith, and I'm walking in what God wants me to do. A lot of times we could think selfish. A lot of times we could just do what's pleasing to us. But at the end of the day, I don't believe that's what life is about. Life is about unity. Life is about, teamwork. Life is about serving something that's higher than yourself. That's really what I'm starting to understand. I'm breaking a lot of old habits and a lot of old patterns. And I think that's the uncomfortableness that, I be feeling, because the old version of yourself can't go into your new life. So, we pray, God, change my life. God, please, elevate my life. And then when it's time to elevate, when it's time to change, you'll be wondering why you're not able to do certain things or think the same way. That's because He's changing you, and as He's changing you, you won't understand it at first. And you'll even think about returning to the old person that you was. But you'll realize it's not worth it. You know, you don't want to spend the rest of your life living the same way. You want to be able to experience different things. You want to be able to, you know, try different things, changing who you are as a person, still be authentic to who you are, but just, you know, require yourself to change and not be comfortable with doing the same old things that you're used to doing, because that's a surefire way to live with regret. One of the biggest things I can say is I don't live with regret. Even though I haven't accomplished everything that I want to accomplish, I don't live with regret, because everything that I have in my mind, I pursue it. Now, whether it works or not, everything is not meant to work out. You're going to encounter some failures, as we talk about all the time. But my thing is just implementing what it is that, you know, I say I want to do. And that's where you got to leave it up to the Most High. You know, I just want to make sure that I'm on my path. I want to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do, what I'm supposed to do. Because you can live a life that's not according to your path, or it wasn't designed for you. And I think that's where the frustration comes in at, because you have some people out here that, you know, they make a bunch of money, they become millionaires, they become billionaires, and they still end up taking their life. That's when you really gotta sit and think and wonder, it's like, why? If the money was what they was after, fame or whatever it is, if that's what they was after, why is it that they took their life once they got to that destination? It's the fulfillment within, it's the connection with God, it's the connection with Source. It's you feeling whole, you feeling like you're full, like you're accomplished, not like you need to search for anything external to give you that feeling. And that's just what I'm starting to comprehend now. I've always heard it, but it's another thing to actually live it and be faithful to it. That's why a lot of the things that's going on in the world, you gotta block that out of your vision, because the world will tell you if you're not worth 300 million, 300 billion, you know, you're not worth anything. But it's almost like that'd be the cause of you to go crazy, because even if you're in pursuit of that, you know, your life chaotic, you know, you stressed out, you trying to make it happen, some things may not be working. And even though you don't want to live life too comfortably, you also don't want to live life in chaos or stress, even though stress is going to try to come upon you in many different ways. But you don't want to put stress on yourself by doing something that's out of your assignment. All I want to do is live within my assignment. You feel me? At first, all I wanted to do was just make a bunch of money. That's all I wanted to do. And honestly, even if I had 100 million without my family, I don't think that's what would make me happy. I used to say that, man, I gotta get this money. Y'all can come with me or not. And to be honest, that's not really how I feel. But getting caught up in the media and getting caught up in what the world says that you should do or what you should have, that'll get you all discombobulated. You gotta operate out of what's in your core. You gotta operate what's in your being. You could offer me $1 billion. That wouldn't make me turn my back on my family or disregard them, because at the end of the day, what's money if you don't have it to share with people that you genuinely love or you care about? You gotta think, you tell the average person that you got $1 billion, everybody gonna want to kick it with you. Everybody gonna want to hang with you. You ain't gonna have no real relationships around you, because people gonna just suck and leech off you for what you have or what you got. So that's not the answer either, you know. And I'm just learning that it's not our plan, it's God's plan. And I say this all the time, but as you're actually going through it, you could kind of feel confused, you could kind of feel lost, you could kind of feel like you're out of place. But at the end of the day, and I'm learning how to surrender to His will. There's times where I'm like, surrender, that's a weak trait. But at the end of the day, you gotta submit yourself to, you know, the Most High. You know, it's actually empowering you. It's allowing you to understand that you are heading in the right track. If you try not to acknowledge the source or the creator and just do your own thing, you might end up accomplishing what you want, but it might be, you know, chaos in your life. It might be turmoil in your life. I'm glad that I actually went to service today. You feel me? It just allowed me to understand that everything happens in divine timing. You know, we want things to happen right when we want them to happen, but you may be being protected by something, or you just preparing yourself for whenever it does happen, you're able to maintain it. You know, some people that they get a hold of a certain amount of resources, they get a hold of a certain amount of attention, or whatever it may be, it changes their life for the worse. You know, money doesn't change who you are, just enhances who you already are. So if God got His hand on your life before, you know, He unleashed those blessings that, you know, are for you, He might be developing your character. He might be developing how you treat people, just how you live in your life, so you don't destroy your life once you know, do receive those blessings. I don't think God will put you in a situation, if you are allowing Him to lead your life, to, you know, give you something that's going to destroy you because He didn't refine your character. So that's just a little Sunday message for today. You feel me? I know I've been talking about God a lot lately, but it's going to come a point in time where you need to get your strength from somewhere. And by my life being saved multiple times, I know it wasn't me. I know that it was a higher power or a higher source that protected me from a lot of things. And I am super grateful for that. And I feel like that's the route I'm going to continue to go, because I want my family protected. I want to continue to meet great people. But by you, operating on your own accord or your own understanding, you might make a lot of mistakes. The brother that I was talking to today, actually after church, he was just letting me know he was coming from a depression from a woman that he was dealing with. And at the end of the day, that right there, you shouldn't really too much put your trust, your faith in people. Even though you're gonna have people that y'all build trust with one another, you don't want your happiness to come from another person, because if they was to walk out of your life, you ultimately will lose your happiness, is what you're saying. So it all comes from fulfillment from within, building your relationship closer and just connecting with inside yourself. And like I said, it's easier said than done. It's a work in progress. That's why we gotta continue to work on ourselves and continue to be in alignment with what's for us. But yeah, man, life is amazing. Life is what you make it. You feel me? We may not have everything that we want, but we blessed to have air in our lungs. You feel me? We blessed to have eyes that we can see, a mouth that we can speak, and people around us that we can love, and energy, good energy, and just sunlight shooting into our eyes. And like I told y'all, it's a lot going on in the world right now. So you're going to need something to keep you sharp. You're going to need something to just keep you on the right path. And that's really all it is, man. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's a lot of people that's watching this channel that's not subscribing. And to be honest, that's not going to fly. We got to connect. You got to connect. You feel me? Y'all can't just keep watching the channel and not subscribing or not showing love. That's what we here for, to show love. So make sure y'all show love. We out.
God your Father now.